gone for quite a while. But no matter what happens next, the galaxy still needs its guardians. Hello, we come in peace. Come on, Drax. Seriously, dude?
No! Ow!
Hey!
Don't forget where we came from.
We have been running our whole lives.
Pete, I'm done running. We'll all fly away together. One last time. Into the forever. That beautiful sky.
Kill anyone who gets in our way.
No, not kill anyone.
Kill a few people.
Kill no people.
Kill one guy, one stupid guy who no one loves.
Now you're just making it sad.
They made only a small appearance in Thor: Love and Thunder, and could be seen briefly in I Am Groot, but next year, it's finally time for them to return. The probably most chaotic superheroes of the universe will finally have their last big movie appearance. We're talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy, of course. They've already appeared in 5 MCU films, followed by the holiday special at the end of November, before we will get to see them in the grand finale in May 2023. But what will the plot be like? And what is the status on set, now that so many of the group have left the MCU? These are the questions we deal with in this video. Of course, we will also go into the freshly released trailer, as it has told us a lot about what will happen in the movie. Obviously, one of the most important questions is, when will the movie be set? It is clear that it will take place after Endgame, but years have gone by since the final battle against Thanos. As we've seen in many series and movies, a lot has also happened since then. As you surely know, after the fight against Thanos, the Guardians joined forces with Thor to form the Asgardians of the Galaxy. We were able to see a part of this story at the beginning of Thor: Love and Thunder. However, we also saw that they parted ways again. If we take a look at the current cast of the film, we can see that one name in particular isn't mentioned, namely that of Chris Hemsworth. So it can be assumed that the God of Thunder will not be fighting alongside Star-Lord and the others this time around. We conclude the two movies play parallel to each other, or that the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 takes place after Thor 4. This is of course only an assumption. On the part of Disney, there is still no more detailed information. The cast is actually pretty much complete, and since Comic-Con in San Diego, we know about most of the new cast additions. For the time being, not much will change among the Guardians. Chris Pratt will return to his role as Star-Lord, and Dave Bautista is set to play Drax for one last time. Karen Gillan, Pom Klementieff, Vin Diesel, and Bradley Cooper are also back as Nebula, Mantis, Groot, and Rocket. However, the Guardians seem to have 2 new cast members. First, we can already spot Cosmo the Space Dog for the first time in the trailer for the holiday special. The Golden Retriever Labrador mix is probably the most famous dog in the comics, and his voice is provided by Maria Bakalova. In addition, it is not yet clear whether Kraglin Amphanteri will continue to fight with the Ravagers or join Peter and the others after all. Kraglin is played by Sean Gunn, the younger brother of director James Gunn. Who is no longer part of the Guardians is Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana. She has found a new group with which she can cross the line in the universe, namely the Ravagers. At the end of the last part, they still offered Yondu Udonta a dignified farewell after his heroic death. Who is going to lead the Ravagers now is still unknown, but it is certain that Sylvester Stallone as Stakar Ogord, known in the comics as Starhawk, will have his very own crew. We were able to see him in Volume 2 as well. It was him, after all, who granted Yondu absolution upon his death, to be buried with all honors in space. Whether there will be flashbacks of Yondu is not known so far. However, Michael Rooker is not to be found in the currently confirmed cast list. How long Gamora will remain a Ravager remains to be seen. In the first trailer, we were actually able to see her alongside the Guardians again, so it seems like the old group is coming back together after all. She is also holding a Polaroid in another scene. Of course, we assume that it is an old photo of her and Peter. Will there be a happy ending for the two of them after all? In the post-credits scene of the last movie, the adversary of Volume 3 was also introduced. There, the High Priestess Ayesha could be seen breeding a new evolved sovereign named Adam. This Adam is none other than Adam Warlock. In the comics, he was brought to life by a group of researchers who wanted to make the perfect being. In the upcoming film, the role of Adam will be played by Will Poulter. It is likewise confirmed that Elizabeth Debicki will once again slip into the role of the High Priestess Ayesha. As another antagonist, we learned through Comic-Con that Herbert Edgar Wyndham, aka High Evolutionary, will be featured. He is trying to create a higher evolution through genetic experiments. You probably guessed it, he is also the creator of Rocket. Among the first published images of the new movie, you can also see a shot of Baby Rocket. Moreover, at the start of the trailer, the Guardians land on a planet that is very similar to Earth, where only animal-like creatures live, but which seem to have a humanoid form. Comic fans among you may be eager to learn whether this is an allusion to the Counter-Earth, which was created by the High Evolutionary. Whether Thor will be back for Guardians Volume 3 has not yet been clarified. Nevertheless, it is likely he will appear in at least a few sequences. After all, he did travel the universe with the Guardians for a while. On the other hand, he is the first hero Adam Warlock meets in the comics and also an adversary of High Evolutionary. But this is of course still pure speculation and not confirmed by anybody yet. It was certainly not easy to get to the start of filming for the third part of the film series. Although director James Gunn confirmed back in March 2017 that there would be a third part, the mastermind behind the Guardians first had to pack his bags. After an almost 10-year-old tweet of his was made public, in which he made fun of sexual assault, things were over for the time being. Since this cannot be reconciled with the strict guidelines of Disney, they felt compelled to dismiss Gunn. Only after more or less the entire star ensemble of the Guardians had publicly stood up for the director did they bring Gunn back to the project in March 2019. This allowed production to restart with a considerable delay. The year 2020 was originally planned as the shooting start, but of course, they didn't know beforehand that everything would turn out differently that year. Thus, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had to be added to the long list of postponements. In addition, Chris Hemsworth also expressed interest in shooting a fourth solo film around his character of Thor. This production was then promptly given more attention. Filming on the Guardians movie finally began at the end of 2021. The first trailer was then shown at a press conference at the San Diego Comic-Con. This was actually only supposed to be shown to the press, but shortly after, the first mobile phone shots of the trailer emerged. This led to displeasure among the fans, as they have been waiting for some footage for a long time. Thanks to the trailer, much is already known about the plot, and so far we can forecast 3 major storylines. Gunn himself stated in a podcast that the third and last part of the Guardians will probably be the darkest, although he will of course not skimp on humor. He also hinted that not everyone in the group will survive their final battle. At this point, we would like to emphasize that not everything we predict will turn out that way, but rather, it seems realistic to us. The search for Gamora will probably turn out to be shorter than everyone expected. After all, she shows up pretty quickly in the trailer. There, however, she makes it clear that she is no longer the Gamora we knew before Endgame, and that she is now turning to her own interests. This will be especially upsetting to Quill, but whether there was still a happy ending for both of them remains to be seen. Gamora certainly appears to be more focused on gaining control of the Ravagers than engaging in a love affair with Peter. Furthermore, as mentioned earlier, we have gotten to see Baby Rocket, and his story will also play a bigger role, much to the delight of fans. So hopefully, we will not only learn how he was created by High Evolutionary, but also find out a little more about his life before Groot and the Guardians. In addition, we'll meet Rocket's best friend, Lilla. The modified otter lady has only appeared in the comics thus far, but if you paid attention, you might have seen her name in the first Guardians movie. There, it is next to Groot when the Guardians are admitted to the maximum security prison of the Xandarians. Anyway, the first images of the reunion have already brought tears to our eyes. As we could already gather from the trailer, Rocket will probably want to take revenge on his creator for all that he did to him. Already in the past movies, we have heard repeated allusions to Rocket's painful transformation, and also in the trailer, we can see cybernetic implants beneath his skin. Last, but certainly not least, there's Adam Warlock. As mentioned earlier, Adam Warlock was created by Earth researchers in the comics, right after his awakening. He meets Thor and is fought by him after he attempts to mate with Lady Sif. However, Adam Warlock is not necessarily evil. but similar to Vision, a being who has yet to find his place in the universe. This mission, which he lacked at the beginning of the comics, could easily be given to him in the movie eventually, which is to take revenge on the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yet, he may end up taking a completely different path. Indeed, in the comics, he eventually joins the Guardians to protect the universe and rebuild it after a terrible disaster. What is clear here is that in the movie series, it wasn't researchers on Earth who created Adam Warlock, but the Sovereign. We finally got to watch this in the post-credit scene of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. They could have been helped by Edgar Wyndham, aka High Evolutionary, which would make a good connection between the Guardians and him. The fact that Warlock will join the Guardians at the end of the movie is not that unrealistic. It is clear that they will have to regroup, and as Gunn said, not everyone necessarily has to survive. Of course, that begs the question, who might die? The most likely scenario for us is the death of Drax. The actor has fallen out with Disney and has long announced that this will be his final Marvel film. Well, that makes it very easy to simply let the character die. Besides, Drax has accomplished his great goals and avenged his family after the death of Ronan and Thanos. Also, in the trailer we saw the Guardians in a prison again, and Drax was dragged away by Gamora and Mantis with a gunshot wound to the chest. However, further deaths cannot be excluded. For instance, Peter could sacrifice himself for Gamora if she were to be in danger again. Also, the possibility of Rocket dying cannot be ruled out. Indeed, James Gunn stated that he put all of himself into the role of Rocket, and thus, with his departure from the franchise, his character could die as well. In the lore, Rocket and Lilla wanted to escape from the High Evolutionary together, but unfortunately, Lilla didn't make it. Maybe Rocket will sacrifice himself this time so that his best friend can live in freedom. No matter who or whether someone even dies, we will surely have tears running down our faces with the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. That was our preview of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. How do you imagine the story will play out? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. See you next time.